Tomorrow, the 15th of May 2026, the cosmic architecture radically, violently, and irreversibly transitions from the chaotic accumulation of the past weeks into a terrifying, blinding, and profoundly ruthless state of absolute intellectual purification. We are waking up to an unprecedented, highly volatile sky, defined by the simultaneous, shocking collision of two monumental astrological forces, the exact, scorching conjunction of the Sun and Mercury, forming a brilliant, high-voltage Cazimi. Occurring at the exact same moment, the Moon actively decays into its final, exhausting, and completely unforgiving waning crescent phase. Do not look to the heavens tomorrow expecting a day of gentle beginnings, comfortable emotional validation, easy social integration, or the passive manifestation of new desires. Instead, completely brace your physical vessel and tightly secure your highly sensitive mental architecture for a profound, undeniable, and deeply sobering crisis of absolute truth discovery and mandatory elimination. This specific, awe-inspiring planetary signature represents the ultimate, terrifying intersection between the blinding, laser-focused light of absolute cosmic intelligence and the heavy, agonizing requirement to permanently release the decaying, dead weight of your past. The Sun-Mercury Cazimi acts as an unstoppable high-frequency spotlight, instantly illuminating the darkest, most deeply hidden lies you have been telling yourself, while the waning crescent moon aggressively demands that you violently and without a single ounce of sentimentality purge those exact illusions from your reality. This is absolutely not the time for planning new expansions, hoarding resources, or hiding in the comforting, stagnant shadows of your own self-doubt. This is an astrological signature of immense, immediate gravity, demanding a ruthless, unsentimental, and purely objective audit of your entire existence to prepare your vessel for the impending dark moon. When we slowly, deliberately, and with agonizing, deeply clinical, and profoundly unfeeling precision turn our unwavering, highly critical, fiercely analytical, and completely dead-eyed gaze toward the sacred, load-bearing architecture of your vast, accumulating wealth, we are initiating a terrifying financial autopsy. We are not merely looking at your bank accounts. We are ruthlessly examining the massive, deeply complex, and heavily guarded blueprint of your expanding professional agency and the ultimate, long-term trajectory of your material investments. The monumental, historically significant cosmic events of May 15 unconditionally and aggressively dictate an atmosphere of absolutely ruthless, active systematization, extreme, highly disciplined mental execution, and a terrifying, unapologetic financial purging. You must deeply, fundamentally, and on a microscopic, violently vibrating cellular level, understand that the wealth generated, managed, scaled, and fiercely protected under the crushing, exposing, and highly sobering influence of a dying, waning crescent moon illuminated by the blinding, laser-like focus of a mercurial Cazimi is absolutely, unequivocally not based on empty, meaningless hype. It is not built on the fragile, temporary foundation of viral marketing, hopeful wishing, or blindly adding more chaotic, unproven variables to your already overloaded portfolio. You cannot simply out-earn your own financial stupidity, nor can you mask a crumbling material foundation by painting over it with aggressive, hollow sales tactics. Money tomorrow is absolutely not a quiet, polite, or gentle energetic exchange. Money tomorrow responds exclusively, entirely, and without a single, microscopic exception to the heavy, dense, grounded vibration of absolute, terrifying intellectual clarity and the agonizingly hard, relentless, and bloody amputation of financial dead weight. The profound, undeniable, highly volatile, and deeply sobering energetic frequency generated by this specific, highly pressurized alignment will fiercely, aggressively, and without a single microscopic ounce of pity, sympathy, or mercy, illuminate the toxic, rotting, and entirely disorganized zones of financial illusion that are currently paralyzing your path and violently choking your professional expansion. The universe is stripping away the comfortable illusion of infinite resources and forcefully making you reckon with the harsh reality of finite, measurable capital. This blazing, unforgiving, and high-definition cosmic searchlight generated by the Sun and Mercury, merging at the exact same degree, will brutally, surgically, and undeniably expose exactly where you have been comfortably lying to yourself about your ultimate material potential. You are going to be forcefully, physically, and agonizingly forced to sit down in absolute silence and stare directly, without blinking, turning away, or making a single pathetic, weak excuse at the massive, complex financial leaks you have been cowardly, consistently ignoring for months or even years. The blinding, unendurable light of the Cazimi will forcefully hand you the exact, terrifying data, the painfully missing numbers, the broken algorithmic funnels, and the cold, unvarnished, and completely undeniable truth about your failing investments, your incompetent business partners, and your own embarrassing systemic failures. Every subscription you do not use, every employee who operates at a fraction of their required capacity, and every marketing campaign that yields absolutely zero return on investment, all of it will be highlighted with radioactive, undeniable clarity. You can no longer hide behind abstract ideas of future success. The cosmos is violently slamming the raw, unedited ledgers directly onto your desk and demanding an immediate, merciless accounting of every single penny that drains your vital life force. Simultaneously, the heavy, decaying, and deeply final energy of the waning crescent moon forcefully and violently demands that you take immediate, irreversible physical action based on this terrifying new data. You are strictly mandated to immediately terminate the rotting contracts, brutally fire the parasitic, demanding clients who constantly drain your energetic reserves without offering equal compensation, and ruthlessly, permanently delete the failing, stagnant projects that are actively, maliciously suffocating your ultimate material potential. The universe is forcefully and unapologetically demanding that you immediately stop relying on hopeful, blind, and chaotic expansion. You must instantly begin weaponizing your newly sharpened, highly illuminated intellect to fundamentally secure your permanent financial empire. Your brilliant mind must become a lethal, sharpened blade, slicing effortlessly through the dense fog of financial mediocrity, wasteful spending, and emotional hoarding. You must completely eradicate any lingering trace of financial sentimentality, useless overhead, or toxic professional loyalties from your spreadsheets right now. The ultimate emperor of the material realm understands that true, lasting wealth is forged in the agonizing fires of elimination. By tearing down the broken scaffolding, by burning the dead wood, and by violently purging the financial parasites from your host body, you will secure your permanent but unshakable financial sovereignty, not by desperately accumulating more chaotic energy, but through the sheer, terrifying, and absolutely unstoppable power of cold, calculated, and relentless subtraction. When we slowly, methodically, and with an unwavering, highly critical, deeply analytical, and completely dead-eyed gaze turn our absolute, undivided attention directly toward the intricate, miraculous, and highly complex biological machinery of your physical body, we are not looking at a mere vessel of flesh and bone. When we examine the incredibly delicate, highly sensitive, and profoundly vibrating architecture of your foundational energetic health, the momentous, highly frictional, and radically shifting celestial events of May 15 issue a severe, inescapable, and highly urgent biological warning. This is not a gentle suggestion from the universe. It is a critical, terrifying cosmic mandate strictly regarding the unyielding militaristic management of immense, suffocating mental overload. It is a blaring, deafening alarm concerning massive, nerve-shattering electrical static and the highly dangerous, incredibly destructive somatic manifestation of entirely unexpressed, deeply suppressed, and violently suffocated intellectual exhaustion. You must deeply, fundamentally, and on a microscopic, cellular level, fully comprehend that your physical vessel is absolutely not merely a passive, numb, or comfortably detached observer to this violent, grinding, and intensely heavy astrological friction. Your biological body is not an innocent bystander in this cosmic transition. It is going to bear the direct, agonizing, highly somatic, and deeply visceral brunt of this massive, exhausting, and all-consuming cosmic download, the strict, blinding, and purely communicative, high-frequency energy of the Sun-Mercury conjunction. The Cazimi creates a profound, inescapable, and violently heavy internal pressure directly within the complex, interconnected, and highly sensitive network of your deeply buried nervous system, your rapidly surging neural synapses, and your highly sensitive brainwaves. Simultaneously, the deeply draining, emptying, and ghostly energy of the waning crescent moon acts as a massive energetic vacuum, actively and relentlessly pulling the vital life force out of your heavy, load-bearing muscles and your aching, stiff joints. The toxic, stagnant, and actively rotting energetic residue of your past intellectual burnout is reaching a critical mass. Your cowardly, repeated avoidance of resting, your fear of stillness, and your painfully swallowed, unexpressed mental fatigue are no longer abstract psychological concepts. This decaying emotional and mental matter is currently being forcefully, relentlessly, and mercilessly pushed completely out of its hidden, comfortable psychological depths. It is being violently injected directly into your physical form, flooding your delicate veins and locking your skeletal structure as pure, unadulterated, and boiling physiological tension. This extreme, polarizing, and deeply uncomfortable internal pressure will not remain silent. It will easily, rapidly, and painfully manifest as intense, nerve-grinding, and utterly debilitating insomnia that actively, maliciously threatens to completely shatter your biological ability to rest, recover, or find peace. You will experience severe, unyielding surges of chaotic mental static, completely demanding to be utilized by your racing, exhausted mind. Expect sudden, blinding, and agonizing tension headaches that pulse relentlessly with the terrifying, unreleased frequency of hoarded, unorganized information and unspoken truths. You will inevitably feel a profound, heavy, and suffocating sense of physical, agonizing lethargy, a bone-deep weariness that feels like lead in your blood, yet it is accompanied by the absolute, unavoidable biological need for immediate, aggressive, and explosive sensory deprivation. The electricity, the relect inside your brain is desperately seeking a way to ground itself before it burns through your neural insulation. You are a pressurized container of trapped, frantic intellectual static, and the waning crescent is demanding you empty the vessel before the new moon arrives. You absolutely, categorically, and unequivocally cannot simply sit still in a noisy, chaotic room and hope this passes. You cannot attempt to logically rationalize, psychoanalyze, or quietly think your way out of this extreme, raging electrical storm. You cannot blindly, cowardly ignore your way out of this specific, heavy, and deeply demanding high-frequency signature by distracting yourself with meaningless digital consumption or shallow entertainment. The absolute best, most fundamentally effective, and truly, unequivocally only way to successfully manage your fragile physical health, protect your vibrating nervous system, and preserve your delicate sanity tomorrow is through highly disciplined, intensely solitary, and profoundly silent physical purging. Heavy, methodical fasting is not a diet. It is a spiritual cleaning of the biological furnace. Structured, incredibly rigorous, and agonizing sweating in a sauna to force your biological system to release trapped toxins and heavy metals is strictly required. Furthermore, rigorous, highly disciplined rest in complete, uninterrupted, and absolute darkness is mandated by the heavy, electrifying geometry of the stars. You must consciously, intentionally, and forcefully exhaust the frantic mental energy by denying it any new external input. You must purge until the suffocating electrical static is entirely drained into the heavy earth, leaving your body a hollow, pristine, and ready temple. You must disappear into the void of the waning moon, allowing the fire of the Cazimi to cauterize your wounds. And finally, for the first time in weeks, surrender your biological vessel to the absolute, unyielding power of silence. To completely, utterly, and ruthlessly dominate and perfectly harness the overwhelming, frictional, and highly volatile power of the 15th of May 2026, you must instantly, without a single microscopic second of hesitation, implement a strict, tactical, minute-by-minute timeline. This schedule must expertly and surgically turn the oppressive cosmic overload and atmospheric truth-telling into your ultimate, undeniable strategic advantage. Your action tomorrow must be incredibly precise, coldly calculated, fiercely efficient, and relentlessly, consistently focused on structured elimination from the exact moment your heavy eyes open to the blinding light of the Cazimi. When you wake up, Do not allow yourself to instantly reach for your glowing screens. You cannot afford to succumb to the heavy, chaotic, and paralyzing flood of digital information, global news, notifications, and external noise that will inevitably attempt to hijack your fragile, waking mind. You must rise immediately with the terrifying, cold, and robotic precision of a highly seasoned, battle-hardened surgeon stepping directly and unapologetically into a massive, sprawling operating room. Your entire morning must be defined by a strict, unyielding, highly mental, and utterly solitary routine of brutal organization and intellectual prioritization. The Sun-Mercury conjunction demands that you treat your consciousness as a sacred, sterile environment where only absolute truth is permitted to exist. Spend the very first 30 minutes of your day in absolute, terrifying, uninterrupted silence. Sit at a clean desk and physically write out with a physical pen and paper the absolute biggest, most draining, and most outdated belief system, toxic relationship, or failing physical project standing directly in your material way. You must clearly and specifically identify this target not as a vague, nebulous concept floating in your mind, but as a concrete, undeniable, and heavy burden that you are contractually, spiritually obligated to your own immortal soul to absolutely sever, delete, and completely destroy by sunset. This is a day of ritualistic subtraction. The waning crescent moon provides the decaying energy necessary to dissolve these anchors forever, but you must be the one to swing the blade. When you communicate with others, let your carefully chosen words act as undeniable, surgical, physical severings. The mercurial fire in your throat means every syllable possesses the power to cauterize or create. Speak boldly, clearly, incredibly firmly, and without a single microscopic trace of unnecessary apology, emotional justification, or subtle hesitation. You are not seeking consensus. You are issuing edicts of reality. Do not explain your decisions to those who operate on lower frequencies. Your mission is to purge the static from your field so that your empire can stand on a foundation of pure, unadulterated clarity. By sunset, your environment must be sanitized of all intellectual and material rot, leaving you a hollowed, perfected vessel ready for the next cycle of power. While the monumental, terrifying, and deeply demanding high-voltage friction of this specific celestial phase undeniably shocks, fundamentally reshapes, and completely alters the psychological, mental, and material landscape of every single individual currently walking the face of the earth. The specific, inescapable, and highly focused geometry of the cosmos directs the absolute, blinding maximum intensity of this heavy, electrifying pressure directly toward three specific, targeted zodiac signs. For these three distinct, powerful archetypes, the 15th of May 2026 is categorically and undeniably not just a loud, highly distracting day of passing mental storms. Rather, it is a profound, unavoidable, and deeply necessary psychological and physical choke point in their grand evolutionary journey. The very first and most profoundly impacted sign standing directly at ground zero of this cosmic reality check is Gemini. Because your supreme ruling planet, Mercury, is currently being entirely consumed and supercharged by the blazing, aggressive fire of the sun, your entire fundamental operating system is undergoing a terrifying, agonizing, and blindingly brilliant metamorphosis. Tomorrow, the universe forcefully and unapologetically throws you directly into the chaotic, messy, and deeply demanding trenches of extreme intellectual illumination. You are going to feel an intense, almost agonizing, and deeply electric level of internal data rushing through your nervous system. The universe is forcefully demanding that you finally learn the agonizing but absolutely necessary lesson of directed, strictly disciplined mental focus. You will be handed the exact, undeniable truth regarding a situation that has been confusing you for months, but the waning moon demands that you use this brilliant truth to completely cut away the people or projects that are no longer viable. You must intentionally harness your immense, roaring internal mental electricity and channel it exclusively into cold, calculating, and relentless strategic elimination. The second sign thrusts directly and violently into the cold, heavy, and transformative audit of this alignment is Virgo. As the other sign intimately ruled by Mercury, this blinding Cazimi acts as an unstoppable, high-definition spotlight, entirely focused on your daily routines, your complex systems, and your deeply ingrained habits of perfectionism. This convergence mandates a complete, uncompromising, and immediate mental elimination of anything in your highly active life that lacks absolute, undeniable functional utility. You are the sign of the master analyst, the complex soul who thrives exclusively on perfect organization. Tomorrow, however, the universe forcefully and violently drags you into the harsh, demanding light of an inescapable systemic audit. The waning crescent moon forcefully demands that you stop trying to fix broken machines, stop trying to heal toxic people, and stop obsessively repairing systems that are fundamentally designed to fail. You must ruthlessly, coldly, and unfeelingly unplug the systems that drain your energy and permanently walk away from them without looking back. The third sign destined for a monumental, reality-shattering, and deeply psychological experience on this specific day is Scorpio. With this massive intellectual illumination happening simultaneously with the deepest, most emptying phase of the lunar cycle, you are standing directly in the crosshairs of a profound, undeniable psychological and material death. You usually survive the harshness of the world by seamlessly hiding within the boundless realms of your massive, accumulated emotional control and your complex, subterranean strategies. However, on May 15, the comfortable, intricate, and safe narrative of hidden power you have carefully constructed is going to be violently and entirely burned away by this heavy, shocking cosmic demand for immediate, blinding truth. The deeply hidden fears, the massive stagnant hoarding of your intense energetic capital, and the heavy psychological secrets you have been desperately guarding will forcefully demand your immediate, agonizing, and undivided attention. You will suddenly and painfully realize that perfectly holding onto your past trauma does absolutely nothing to secure your ultimate destiny. The universe aggressively demands that you surrender, empty your vessel entirely, and let the old version of yourself die permanently in the blinding light of the Sunday. In ultimate, definitive, and unwavering final conclusion, tomorrow, the 15th of May 2026, is categorically destined to be a day of monumental intellectual gravity, intense, unrelenting mental pressure, and incredibly necessary structural elimination that will deeply, permanently, and undeniably echo for the absolute entirety of the remaining lunar cycle. It is a defining, historically significant tipping point in your personal evolution, where the deeply visionary, hungry human soul is forcefully and unapologetically required to permanently shed the soft, comforting, and dangerous illusions of unearned potential, emotional hoarding, and chaotic, disorganized thinking. Instead, you must actively, consciously, and deliberately put on the heavy, impenetrable, and terrifying armor of cold, absolute, and relentless truth. You absolutely cannot escape, outsmart, negotiate with, or cleverly bypass the immense, crushing, and deeply penetrating friction of this extremely demanding, high-stakes cosmic alignment by aggressively, consciously, and deliberately applying a state of extreme, unwavering, and militant structural discipline to your microscopic daily actions, and by maintaining an intense, fearless, and completely unbroken mental focus on actively, brutally, and physically deleting the specific obstacles placed directly in your path, you can expertly utilize this heavy, oppressive atmospheric alignment to fundamentally secure your permanent, unshakable, and radically sovereign legacy. Walk boldly, stoically, and with terrifying, absolute, and machinic discipline directly into the roaring, unpredictable fires of your own absolute truth. The vast, uncompromising cosmos demands absolutely nothing less than your ultimate, undeniable, and flawless intellectual execution tomorrow, and it is entirely, unequivocally within your sovereign, unyielding, and absolute power to stand up, claim your radical reality, and flawlessly, permanently deliver it.